And yeah, we know the Cavs are going to try to make some move, which leads us right into our next topic. Brought to you by Game Time. There's nothing like the NBA playoffs, the intensity, the buzzer beaters, fans losing their minds. It's the kind of atmosphere you must experience live. And this year's matchups are already delivering. If you want in, Game Time makes it fast and easy to get seats, even for the biggest playoff games. Prices on the app drop the closer you get to tip-off with killer last-minute deals, panoramic seat views, and no surprise fees. Game Time is a total game changer. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. You can download the app, create an account, and use promo code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Once again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. For the Cavs to make some sort of counter-reactionary move to the Desmond Bane deal, they most likely have to get under the second apron to have more flexibility to do that. And Chris Fedor of Cleveland.com and the Wine and Gold podcast mentioned that the team is looking to unload Isaac Okoro. The issue is they're struggling to find a team willing to take on his $11 million salary over the last 2 years. This is from Chris Fedor this weekend on the Wine and Gold report. Quote, from everything that I'm told, they're having a hard time finding anybody that has legitimate interest in Isaac Okoro unless Isaac comes with some kind of sweetener from the Cavs. He continued to say, some kinds of assets attached to his contract, because I think there are teams out there that are looking at Isaac and they're saying, we'd be doing you a favor by taking on his contract, so make it worth our time to do that. Make it worthwhile for us to do that. Give us future second-round picks. Go find a first-round pick somehow that then you can trade us along with Isaac. Then we'll help you out. He carries an $11 million salary over the next 2 years. Jason, we've talked about that being a potential issue, the Cavs not having assets to unload some of these contracts to make their cap situation a little more feasible. Do you see Isaac Okoro and a deal happening in some sort? And what would that sweetener be, the Cavs, which they frankly don't have a ton of right now?
Yeah, I don't think you can attach a one to Okoro. You can't trade a one until 2031, and you need that to hopefully improve your roster at some point in the next 6 years. Jeez. So I don't know that you can use that to get off the money with Isaac, and I don't know that twos. Is a team really willing to spend $22 million to buy second-round picks? I mean, maybe, but I don't think so. I would say that's more unlikely than likely. So it's kind of a tough spot that they're in. You know, I made the argument last summer. Rarely do you see guys in his position last year sign the qualifying offer, but I thought that was the best path for both sides. I think we did a show on that.
Yeah,
we talked about it at length about if you take the qualifying offer, you know, if you're Isaac, you can then cash in an unrestricted free agency if you have a big year. And the Cavs chose to sign him to an extension instead that was a little bit below the qualifying offer last year. But now they're in a spot where, I mean, they would have to dump Isaac and Dean to get out of the second apron, I believe. That's the numbers that I believe. It's not just Isaac, it's Isaac and Dean. And I told Mike last week or 2 weeks ago, I was told the same thing. They were trying to move Isaac. I don't think there's a lot of takers for him. No. If Isaac could shoot, he'd be a beast in this league. But teams don't believe in his shot, and they don't believe in his shot in the postseason. So I think that they're in a really tough spot with this. I'll be curious to see how it unfolds.
Yeah, him and Dean Wade is unplayable in the playoffs. They just are. It's, you know, we talk about his shot. I don't. It's his whole offensive game. At least if you was a slasher, at least if you was a guy that just put your head down and get to the rim, or y'all got to realize this: we lost games because the people we had couldn't dribble.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Sam Merrill can't dribble. Ty Jerome cannot dribble. I don't understand. Your guard, Isaac Okoro, cannot dribble. Dean Wade cannot put the ball in the goal. They threw a high school press on you, and you folded like you was playing at the Schottenstein Center down the state. This looks like Cincinnati Roger Bacon versus Lake St. Ed's, right? This is why I'm like, y'all got to 2-1-2 presses melting you like that?
That's kind of why Darius is important, by the way.
Wow. Mikey.
That is exactly why Darius is important.
Jiminy Christmas.
Because when he's not on the floor,
8 seconds.
You had like the last 50 seconds of game 2, where every single play in the play chart was a negative play for the Cavs, whether they were on offense or on defense. It was It was a inbound that was intercepted.
Yeah.
It was a turnover. It was a.
They didn't get the ball over half court.
They couldn't do it. And the one thing that we've always talked about, but it really jumped out at me this year, the difference between the regular season and the playoffs. We had guys on our team that looked like all-stars in the regular season.
Yep.
Those same players looked like they couldn't find the court in the playoffs.
They were slow. I couldn't believe it hit me to my soul. I said, is the Indiana Pacers that much athletically better than us? I mean, it looked like Nembhard they just knew where the position was and was morphing to the spot. Like, nope, I'm here. Mather, nope, I'm already here too. You might as well give up. I'm like, this is starting to turn and look like Japanese anime cartoons. This is some Dragon Ball Z stuff. These guys, their power levels is way too high for us to be seeing. When you look at Okoro, he was the number 5 pick. I don't think he's done anything in the league.
God.
He's a 5. He's a lottery pick. I don't think he's gotten better at anything. He's still athletic. Even he plays hard defensively.
He's improved his three-point shot since he came in the league. He's still not a guy that teams fear in the postseason. But he's a better three-point shooter now than he was.
I'm letting him shoot at any time.
3-point percentage?
12.
It felt like it was 12.
Every time.
It counts for 4 misses when you hit the side of the backboard. What was it?
But it's just minimal attempts. It's not even enough attempts to really quantify. I have a question.
That's way better than I thought it would be.
Real quick for you guys. So that was the COVID draft. The year the Cavs took Okoro at number 5. That was a very, very weird
Everything
draft.
was weird about that.
I'll give you the top 12 real quick. I'll give you top 14 because some names are irrelevant. Anthony Edwards went 1. Right pick. Great pick.
What you mean?
James Wiseman went 2. Terrible. Out of the
Terrible.
league.
Oh my God.
LaMelo Ball was 3.
He's better than
He's a player. He's a legitimate player. Patrick Williams went 4. Patrick Williams is an abomination on a horrific contract.
Yep.
Isaac Okoro went 5. Onyeka Okongwu, solid player for Atlanta.
This proves once again
6.
nothing good came from the COVID year.
Killian Hayes, out of the league, was 7. Obi Toppin was 8.
Wait, 3 of the top 7 are out of the league.
And he played for Detroit.
No.
It was getting
2
minutes.
of the top 7 out.
Hayes was out quick.
Wiseman's out. Hayes is out. I actually think Wiseman's actually on a team, but doesn't play.
I think he is on a team.
Toppin was 8.
Okay.
Denny Advia was 9. Jalen Smith was 10.
Okay.
Got cut after 1 year in Phoenix. 2 years in Phoenix, excuse me. Devin Vassell was 11. Tyrese Halliburton was 12. Kira Lewis Jr., who is no longer playing, was 13, and Aaron Nesmith was 14.
Would you love to go back and swap Okoro
So
for
my
Halliburton?
question is, because that was the COVID year, no in-person workouts, all Zoom interviews. Jason, I don't know if you have any insight on this whatsoever. I'm asking a question I hadn't thought about till right now.
Why?
How differently do you think that draft plays out if it wasn't a COVID year where they could actually have some of these guys in person for workouts, not just evaluating tape from a lot of one-and-dones who played in front of minimal crowds at best, where you didn't truly get a gauge of what they can do in pressure situations?
Yeah, I think it's a fascinating look to go back in all the leagues and look at COVID and how would those drafts be differently, and what did teams learn? Did teams learn anything about themselves having to go through that? Did they keep anything about that? Did they feel like they missed badly because of that? I don't have the answer on that. I know Obi Toppin, I was told, now, was it just smoke to throw everyone off the trail, or was it real? Obi Toppin was tied heavily to the Cavs in the run-up to that draft. Wow. I'd heard from a couple different people that they were interested in Toppin, and then they took Okoro.
What put them over the top on Okoro, do you know? His athleticism?
You know, I never asked. I think it was athleticism, his ability to defend, and they felt like his shot would come. Like the shot would develop. Because, again, if he becomes a dead-eyed three-point shooter, he's making a lot of money in this league.
You aren't kidding.
Because he's got the body of an NFL tight end. But
he's a good defender, too.
Just the shot never developed like I think people thought that it could.
When you watch them tapes in the playoffs, he is naked, wide open. They don't even look.
No, they don't.
No.
They don't even look at him.
Gee, when he was playing well last year, when he was shooting the lights out last year, I think we talked about on the show. I poked around with a couple teams and said, "How would you guard the Cavs in the playoffs?" He said, you shrink off Okoro until he proves he can. You can make him in the regular season all day long, but until you make him the postseason, teams don't believe he can make him, and they were right.
God, I'd take 37.5%.
Fool's gold.
Yeah, but it's on like 1.5 attempts per game. It's just
I know, but I mean, okay, so
Fool's
Last
gold.
year he was terrible in the playoffs.
Fool's gold.
What was he last year?
His numbers in the playoffs last year. So this year he was 37.5% on 1.8 attempts per game. Last year in the playoffs he was 26% on 3 attempts per game, and the year before he was 30% on 2.7 attempts per game. For his career in the playoffs, he's 29.7% on 2.5
Yeah, that's
attempts.
abysmal.
Teams do not guard him in the postseason.
On possessions where Donovan or Darius to dribble the ball, breaking their neck, going around 6'7", 6'8" guys to find the open shooter, and then you need a big one, and then clank, and now you're right back on defense.
side of the backboard.
Right. When you're in the playoffs, when you're right back on defense, it hurts your heart so much. Because you know, like think about how good SGA is at causing fouls, or Halliburton. It's like they're getting you in foul trouble, and then when you come down, you got to bust your tail just to even get good looks. And then those good looks aren't really good looks because the defense gave you those looks. They're like, that's exactly what we were teaching the practice and walk around. Go ahead, shoot that, Dean.
So we'll wrap up this with this, Jason. Do you think when it's all said and done, Isaac Okoro is on the Cavaliers next year, or will they find a trade partner willing to take on his 2 years, $22 million remaining?
I think he's on the team because I don't think you can attach a 1 to him, and I don't know. I still think that he does provide value during the regular season. And remember, you got to get through 82 to get to the playoffs. Everyone wants the regular season doesn't matter. Well, you still got to survive 82 games to get there. And you got to be moderately healthy. You know, you want to be optimally. You want to be fully healthy when you get to the playoffs. So he does provide a service, and he does fill a role on this team. I think he's here. I don't think that they're going to make any significant changes to this team. Now, you know, I actually think Dean Wade has more trade value than Isaac Okoro because
I was going to ask next.
Yeah, because Dean's got, I think, 1 year left at like $7 million.
Yeah, I think it was 6.5, but
and as
same
big
thing.
as he is, and the way that he is a shooter, and he can defend, and he can rebound, Dean is more attractive than Isaac. Now, is he attractive enough as the sweetener, and now you're out of the second apron? You know, you trade them both out, but now you got to make the money work. And
I don't think he is. I mean, I just don't.
What's Isaac have left? 2 years?
Isaac is 2 at 11 each, and Dean is 1 for 6.5.
It's not a totally offensive, egregious contract. 2 years and $22 million. That's not outrageous in the NBA.
No.
But
for what we got from him in the playoffs.
Bro,
By the way, Dean Wade historically has been even worse from 3 in the playoffs.
I know. We saw it this year.
I'd rather see Jalen Tyson, like, just hey, listen, I don't care. I don't care what happens.
Make it look different.
oh, Tyson's gonna have opportunities.
I mean, I guess think.
He's gonna have opportunities.
Because there's another thing, too. I get it. A lot of people said, oh, we can't do much. We can't do much with this. We can't do no much. No, you got some people on the bench. We're going to have to see something. And Darius Garland going to be out for 5-6 months. It's going to take him, to November, December to get back?
He'll miss training camp, preseason, and maybe a couple weeks of the start of the season.
Hey, you better be rotating some of these young guys. Now, what they doing with Sam Merrill? They got a qualified offer for him?
He's unrestricted free agent.
And so is Ty Jerome, right?
So is Ty.
So this is a moot point, right? Because if they bring them back to get rid of these dudes, ain't nothing else, no money left, right?
Well, I don't think there's any world where they're bringing back Merrill and Ty. I think it's one or the other.
And even if they do bring Ty back, it's kind of a wash.
What do you mean a wash?
Like if you get rid of Dean Wade and you get rid of Isaac Okoro's contract.
I mean, it's if you get that $17 million off your books, you're out of the second apron. Now it depends on how much you're giving Ty, whether or not you're going right back in or not.
See, I don't like that. If I'm gonna get under, I need to get under.
It's easier said than done. And
I don't love this new world NBA. I can tell you that.
I totally agree with that point, but I've been told adamantly it is not going away. This is here to stay.
You know, one thing that would help this discussion down the road, where are the ratings through 4 games of the NBA playoffs?
Down 24%.
Yeah, it's
Are they down
They're
24%? Because the
I don't
regular
know.
season was down 25%.
I know they're down. I don't know if the numbers and if it's down over last year or what it's down over, but I know that it's down. But it's been a great series.
Which
It's been great,
it's crazy because the
and I
games
hope
have
it
been
goes 7. I really do. For the league's sake, they need that 6th and 7th bake sale.
Yeah.
You
our
would know
guest,
this.
by the way.
You would know real quick.
Yeah.
You would know this. I was told a sweep, the network loses money.
Big.
5 is break even.
Yes.
6
6
is
and
profit.
7 are icing on the cake.
6 is profit, and 7 is a bonanza.
Now, here's the problem with that. If ratings are down 25%, your revenue is down 25%. You're selling a rate card based on a promise. We're going to give you 12 million households per game times 7, 84 million households. Well, if you play 4 games and you underdeliver, you're at a huge deficit.
Wow.
And what drives the league, the reason we've got these mid players making $10 million a year is because these TV contracts have gotten to the point where they're unsustainable. That's why you're seeing the league change hands. Why? Why have the Olympics never changed hands? The Olympics, I mean, CBS had them for a while, but for the most part,
had them for 40 years.
you know why? They're money in the bank. They're gold. You know what you're going to get.
Why-
And networks like to know what they're going to get.
Yeah.
When the reason the NBA property is changing hands is because certain rights holders are saying, you know what? We can't count on this. There's a scenario where we lose tens of millions of dollars. We're not equipped to do that anymore.
But Jay, when you advertise, ain't I giving you? So I want to advertise on the Jay Crawford Network. I'm giving you money based on what you think your number's going to be at your whatever you're putting on.
Well,
TV.
not what I think it's going to be. Like there's a rating for every show.
So
and that's
if-
what you're selling. You're
so
selling a number.
If you don't hit that number, does that mean I pay less?
Yes, sure.
But I didn't.
It means you get now more inventory. The network isn't going to give you more money.
That's what
back.
I'm saying. You're
But
right.
if you buy 100 spots for $100 million, and the number promised was X, and you're X minus, now instead of giving you 100 spots, they're giving you 120 spots.
Okay.
Make goods. They've got to make you whole. They told you that they were going to deliver a certain number of viewers. Now they've got to deliver them. And so, but when you're running a commercial that's a make good, that's a freebie, you're not making money.
So for my point of view, I'm like, oh well, cool. As long as my commercial's getting paid.
Yeah, well, as an advertiser, sure.
From my point,
Now in the Super Bowl, I think things are different. There's so much competition for ads in the Super Bowl. In the Super Bowl, first of all, it rarely under-delivers, so there's really not that problem. But certain sporting events are so big that this is what it's going to cost you no matter what. And if it runs in the fourth quarter and it's a 40-point game, sorry. That's the risk you take.